pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What's up? I'd like to announce, any member of the council have a conflict of interest, an appearance of conflict of interest regards to any items on the agenda? If so, please state it at this time.
No.
Okay. Amendments, approval of draft agendas?
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple of suggestions that I will need a second on. But first, I would like to address a rumor that I have heard about that I would like to cleanse.
Is that an agenda item?
I'm talking about, no, it's a comment that I want to make. I would like to cleanse a rumor that may have created anxiety for our fire staff. As you know, questions have been raised why this town has more fire personnel than any other nearby town. Simply, this rumor is false. It cannot be substantiated by any public records or statements. Evidently, there's been a rumor that going around that there's going to be layoffs in the fire department. I don't know how these things get started, but this is the feedback that I have received. It's false. Because the council asked a business question that has to be answered should not imply that there will be a reduction in force. Mr. Mayor, I would also like to add public comments on the segment at the end of the council meeting. Somehow that was omitted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, as you know, the full council attended the April 19th or April 9th scope meeting. We'd like to add to the agenda under old business item 2 so that taxpayers can listen to our feedback.
Second on that?
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I've had a lot of questions from citizens in the community that have questions about it. Everybody knows we went to a scoping meeting. I would like to hear some kind of report that the citizens I know would be interested in. However, I am not interested in a debate among council members on what went on in that council meeting. So I will second that if it's just held to someone giving a brief report about what.
Well, it's a report that, you know, sometimes we all hear different things. But I think the citizens have a right to know what we heard.
We do also, on May 7th, have
I understand.
consultants coming in.
Who's going to give the report?
Well, I don't think right now, Rich, is anybody's willing or able to give the full report and have the council look at it.
It's not a matter of the council looking at it. It's a matter of me providing feedback to the community due to what I heard.
Okay, then do I give John the same opportunity?
Anybody else can speak to it.
May I make a comment when it's my turn?
Yeah.
Okay. You know, we have a consultant that has been through all of these meetings and gone through and heard the report. He's talked with the various agencies. I went to this meeting. It's the first of the fourth one. It was the first meeting out of 4 meetings that our consultant has been with, the initial meeting plus 3 scoping meetings. I heard things. I'm not sure if I have the right context for the things I heard. I don't understand how they fit into the whole process. I don't think that I'm qualified to give an informed, objective feedback on that briefing. And we have a consultant, our consultant scheduled to give a formal report, at which time, at the May 7th meeting, at which time we as council members have a chance to chime in and ask him questions or say we heard something different. Otherwise, if we do it at this point in time, I think it's just very premature and potentially misleading based on what, until we get the formal report from our consultant. So I don't think we should do that at this time.
Charlie?
I will not agree to hear a report unless we're going to have discussion on it. And I think, like John said, this can be best handled on May the 7th. This is going to be a long meeting. If we're going to get into a big discussion about the scoping report, I think it should be done on the 7th.
Well, I think that, you know, at the May 7th meeting, we should have our opinion on what we saw or heard at that meeting before our consultants talk, Rich. So can we put it off?
No.
So you could speak until
No.
May 7th?
No, I think the people should listen to what was
No, they're going to
communicated.
listen to what you heard. I'm saying, if we give everybody the opportunity to speak in May 7th, before the consultant talks, that'll be John's opinion, the council's opinion in the whole, not just yours.
It's not my opinion. It's what I heard.
That
It's
is
the
your
opinion of the scoping meeting.
In your opinion. So, help over here, guys.
I know what I heard. It's not an opinion of what I heard, but I do not want to see a discussion among the 5 council members today at this meeting.
Well, that's not going to happen.
Well, Rich, I believe if I give you the opportunity to speak, then I have to give John and everybody else a chance to speak, because that's fair and transparent. You know, just to have you speak and have your opinion, I think is not fair to the whole council and the town in general, because everybody listens and hears something a little different than you may hear it.
And myself, looking at the agenda, seeing that it was on May 7th, I did not come prepared to give an opinion, to discuss the issue, and I think it's not appropriate to do so today.
Yeah?
I've given you my,
We'll put it off until the May 7th.
Jesus.
Anything else, Rich or John, or to add to the agenda?
I do have one.
Yes, I have.
Let Rich finish, and then we'll go to
Okay.
you, okay?
I would like to place under old business item 3, Citizen Beach Parking update.
would that not be number 2?
Item 3. Oh, I'm sorry, it'll be item 2 now because the council is reluctant to provide their feedback. People would like to know my feedback, I can express it to you after the meeting. There continues to be some confusion.
I need a second on that, Rich.
Second.
Second, okay.
So this is to remove the schedule that we have on June 19th to discuss the citizens parking on the island?
Yes.
Yes. There's some updates, John, you'd like to hear.
Okay.
Okay.
Sort of, in the future, can't we get some forewarning if we're going to do something like that?
Well,
I
anybody?
mean, it's interesting. I'd
This
like
is
to
an
hear
update.
I'd like to hear what the update is, but I mean,
Yeah.
you know, out of a courtesy, if you know you're going to do a schedule item, a schedule change,
Well,
let the rest of us know ahead of time so we can think about it before
John,
we
if
come to the
you,
meeting and bring it up.
John, if you recall, I requested to have the agenda sent to the council before public distribution. That's still in the queue. Since confusion continued to persist, at least from me, regarding the definition of a workshop in council meeting, I would like to add this item to the agenda under old business item 3.
Need a second. Yeah? No second? Any seconds?
No?
No.
Okay. Rich, or any more?
No.
Charlie?
I just want to make an announcement. For those who don't know, Mert Klein, wife of our former mayor Ron Klein, passed away. They were great citizens and great assets to the community, and Mert will be missed.
Thank you, Charlie. Any other things for the agenda change?
If I can, during public comments, I've got something that our deputy fire chief wrote up about an accident this week. I'd like to read to the record.
You want to do it now, or?
I can just do it at public comments, but I just
Okay.
want to make you aware.
Now, Lisa, since we added public comments, excuse me, the public comments that we have on first, should that be just limited to the agenda items then?
No, because that's the way it was advertised, that it would be that large.
So we're going to have two open,
Yeah.
okay. Okay. Old business? Number one, ordinance amending chapter 93 title Health and Sanitation.
comments.
Oh, sorry, I'm sorry. Sorry, everybody.
Actually, could I ask just a clarification?
Yes.
Are we going to do public comments before the budget workshop or after the budget workshop?
Both before, this is a council meeting. It's not a workshop. We're gonna
Be after
have
the
it
budget.
before and after the
I asked
council
the Mayor
meeting.
Pro Tem to.
It'll be
present.
after the budget talks.
Thank you.
Okay. Right, at this time, any public comments? No public comments at this time, we're good to,
Mark, can I?
oh, I'm sorry,
Um,
that was 5 seconds ago.
Sorry. Staff received this from our deputy fire chief yesterday. I'd just like to read it. It involves an accident from this week. The fire and police departments were dispatched to a motor vehicle accident, a female trapped under a vehicle. Upon our arrival on the scene, the police officers were attempting to free the victim, who was trapped between the vehicle and the garage wall. The officers made the vehicle safe by placing the vehicle in park and shutting down the engine. Police staff also climbed in the narrow opening to reach the patient and attempt to calm and reassure that she would be freed soon. The fire department arrived on scene and together with police staff used a vehicle jack to raise the front of the vehicle and move the vehicle just enough to meticulously disentangle the patient's leg. Brunswick EMS arrived on the scene and transported the patient to the Grand Strand Trauma Center. I'd like to thank you to all the responding units from the fire and police departments, Chief Ken Claymar, Sergeant Lee Hall, Officer Chris Smith, Officer Roy McPherson, Captain William Bennett, Lieutenant Joseph Adams, Firefighter Matthew Gaskins, Firefighter Joseph Smith, Firefighter Matthew Atkinson, and Firefighter Elliot Turner, and of course, Deputy Fire Chief himself. So I'd just like to say thank you very much. This was commendable work, and you know, this will really reflects well on our department. So thank you.
Yeah, Richard, job well done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to make a public comment for everybody rather. I had an incident a few weeks ago regarding the police in Sunset Beach. I've hired an attorney and I'm doing the due process. If you like, May 20th is my court date in Bolivia, North Carolina. That's all I'd like to say about the matter. So going to old business, an ordinance, oh no, we're going to no public comment, right? So an ordinance amending Chapter 93 titled Health and Sanitation. John?
Hiram, do you want me to do this, or you?
I can do it if you like.
I'll be glad to, but I'll give an overview and you fill in the blanks. How's that?
All right.
All right. We had our small working group that was discussing this ordinance of myself, Ron LeBruno from the Planning Board, Hiram, and Dustin Graham to discuss the ordinance. Our initial attempt that Ron and I had done was more extensive and more invasive and beyond what is legally acceptable for the town to do. So we've come up with some minor changes, which basically comes up, we set a standard height for grasses to grow to be considered nuisances, whether it's in in any unimproved lot up to 18 inches. We recognized and determined that when we looked at the rules, that the regulation that was there, it was only the first section dealing with weeds, grass, undergrowth, and ground cover that we made any changes to. The other 3 paragraphs that were changed only in letters B, B, C, and D were there. We're giving the DPW flexibility when to inspect. No longer will they be required to inspect in 2 specific months between the 1st and 31st of May and the 1st and 30th of September. They'll be required to inspect all the
What?
prop,
John, real quick, so what was the dates again? May what?
1 and 31 May, and 1 and 30 September.
And those are the old dates.
Those were the old dates. Okay. The dates now is that they will just be required to inspect all of the properties between the months of April and October at a schedule that fits their working schedule. They will set the schedule and execute that schedule. Any violations that they notice will be, they will issue a written notice to the violator who's in possession, and they will make an attempt to do this within 5 days of getting any written complaint from any one of our members of the community. Written complaints would be email or in the form of a letter. And then we continue to have the same rules that apply if there's non-compliance. So the main thing is all year round, the 18-inch limit applies. That any citizen can report property that's in violation, and the DPW will try to respond and inspect that property and take appropriate action within 5 days. And that 18-inch requirement applies all year round, not just for cutting in September and May. So it's minimal changes that we ended up making. The rest of the ordinance remains the same.
And that also includes debris like fallen trees and stuff like that, John?
Yes.
I don't have any difficulty with this if it works. Dustin, any issues with this at all for the staff, from your staff's point of view?
No, I'll be the one that does the inspections and stuff.
Yeah, I know that.
So, no, I don't have a problem with this.
Now, just from my own understanding, does Sea Trail have the same
They have the same rules that we've got?
the same rules that we have now? It's all consistent?
Yes.
Okay.
What's on the books of right now, they give their property owners, but I also enforce all our ordinance in Sea Trail and Sandpiper, all over the town. I enforce this.
Yeah, because
ordinance.
I mean, I may be wrong, but I understand Sea Trail does their own little,
They do the members, the property owners over there that owns lots can hire Sea Trail personnel to mow their lots for them,
right.
or they can hire somebody else to do it.
Now, if someone in Sea Trail doesn't cut their grass, is it the Masters Association that contacts you, or a neighbor, or whatever?
No, a neighbor calls me and lets me know that something's going on.
Okay.
When I do my writing, I ride through there also, and if I see something, I'll send them a letter.
Okay.
One clarification there, that an HOA may have more restrictive standards.
Yeah.
Okay.
That the HOA can have, beyond what we do in the town.
But this is the minimum.
This
It's just a minimum.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else?
Mr. Mayor, I don't have any other issues other than I would like to file a motion to adopt the amended Chapter 93 ordinance titled Health and Sanitation as presented by
Do we have a second?
Councilman Corbett.
Second.
Second.
Any discussions? Ready to vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Dustin. Hiram,
Good job, John.
thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Ron, for taking the lead.
All right, old business still. Richard, you have a discussion on the parking?
This is the beach parking.
Yes.
Just to close the loop, the private landowner has decided not to participate in the citizen beach parking program this year. We'll try again next year. Just as a side thought, maybe we could study it at some point because of the additional overcrowding on the beach that we can anticipate. Some citizens have suggested a shuttle service. And I think this may be one of the things to put on the workshop agenda at some point, unless the council disagrees.
I have no problems looking into that, Rich.
That is a key point. Somebody's going to have to look into it and come up with a framework of how that would work.
The logistics have to be laid out very clearly.
Are you,
Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's workable, I'm just saying that.
Who on the council would like to look into it? You want to look into it, Richard, to see the logistics?
Yeah, I'll put the thought process together.
Okay,
It's not going to be a policy, it's just going to be a thought process.
okay.
I would like, Mr. Mayor, excuse me, I would like to see all of us be thinking about possibilities for improving our parking situation. We have a situation, and all of us should be looking at this and thinking about it and bringing things before the council. I mean,
Well, we have
there has to be,
workshops.
there has to be more than just one idea out there.
Well, let's put it on the next workshop and we'll discuss the matters. Next month, let's think about what we can talk about as far as improving the parking on the island and have it part of the workshop.
Well, yeah, that's the confusion I'm having. We have 2 council meetings. Is the workshop going to be scheduled separately?
Yes.
Thank you.
No,
Wait a
No.
minute,
y'all
wait a
decided
minute.
last time that the beginning of the second meeting, the day meeting, would be a regular meeting, and then you transition for the rest of that meeting into a workshop.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
John?
No, that's what I was going to point out.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. Discussing the authorization to advertise for a fire chief position, Richard, Hiram.
I'll do it. Our fire chief, Kevin Dempsey, has announced his retirement effective June 1st, 2018. We're just seeking approval to go out and start advertising for the fire chief position.
Do I hear a motion?
I'd like to, well, I have a modification, and I think it may be related to the next agenda item. I would like to include the filling of the position with the proposal to use contract services of the firm that we select to do the town administrator search process. Can that be added in that proposal?
Lisa, can I ask you a question? Did we use that on our RFP the last time for the fire chief, or just advertising? We just use the advertising? What do you think, there's a reason, do we need a professional to just put it out as an advertisement?
Well, it's a department head position, and we were very successful the last time when we hired the new police chief, and I think we should continue with that path.
If that's a route you want to go, I don't recommend adding it into the RFP for the town administrator.
Yeah.
But doing a separate one, and
Oh, that's what I was suggesting,
and
yeah.
maybe it may not necessarily have to be the same firm, though. I mean, we could have 2 firms. I mean, that way we're not
Yeah.
overloading one.
Yeah, whichever
consultant,
is
if that's the way y'all
the
like to go.
easiest.
We could have a very different timeline between both of those
Yeah.
positions,
Yeah,
for
right.
one.
Yeah, there's no
The,
question.
the sort of the suggestion that I would have is advertise and see what type of response we get. And if we are not happy with the response we get, then go to a recruiting firm to give us assistance and expand out.
Well,
Just, I mean,
We have Richard over there wearing 2 hats. The beach is coming, the summer's coming shortly. I think the quicker we put the RFP out to help him to get a chief, John, I think it'd be helpful. Because the summer is coming and he's pulled in 5 different directions as it is.
Well, that would be a concern. Hiram, what do you think?
I don't know if we really need an RFP and go out for a consultant to hire the fire chief. I believe that's something we can do in-house and maybe do a little bit quicker. By the time we still do a consultant and get that firm in here after approving an RFP, it'll be June before we let the RFP out. It'll be August before they bring candidates to us, if you even select a consultant in July. I mean, we still run the problem of if we have to select the consultant first, and then they have to go through the process. It could still be late fall before you end up hiring a fire chief.
you
Then
see
we have
that-
to, we
you
have
see
to
the
do an
time period,
RFP
Rich?
before we do that. Could I ask a question to Lisa?
Sure.
Lisa, if we advertise for a fire chief, what's the timeline for getting you know, can we have a realistic time for applicants to submit their applications?
Well, you can set the time. You can do 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I mean,
Yeah.
normally we do department head positions for 30 days.
Okay, so,
Lisa, is there a fire department website where positions are posted or?
Yeah, there's no fire station.
Rich, I think we should
Yeah.
go that route only because of time. You know, we're talking to RFP, we're talking August and September.
I'm not a fire expert, and I'll be the first one to admit it. So we're gonna need some assistance with appointing a committee with other fire chiefs in the county to assist us.
Yes, Charlie?
I can't see hiring a consultant. The estimated cost for a consultant to find a town administrator is between $20,000 and $30,000. We're going to do that twice. Where's the money coming from?
Well, yeah, I understand your concerns, Charlie, and the money, and I agree with you. And I think the fact, my concerns is the time. And going into the season as we are, I think Richard needs to get a fire chief in there as soon as possible. And I think a direct advertisement would be the best way, correct? So I think,
And
Rich, can you table that and then
I would
make
suggest putting that advertisement out as quick as possible with the shortest reasonable timeline to get applications in. And we can actually be thinking in terms of, we would first have to agree upon an RFP if we're going to go out for, to put that out. So,
I just
you know,
think
it's a little extra work on the staff, but I would be thinking in terms of concurrently start drafting up an RFP for the fire chief position so that we would be ready to go immediately.
But we'd like to try the advertising
Yeah,
first.
if the advertising doesn't work, we'd be ready to go
Can
immediately.
we do that, Lisa, please?
Yeah.
Okay. All right,
Is
is
that
that,
reasonable?
Rich, you fine with that?
Yeah, my
that a
concern is maybe, Hiram, you can, if you know of any outstanding fire chiefs in the county, if not, I can look for some and,
We're gonna put it on the website.
I'd like to do the selection process, how we're going to select after we find out who applies, because fire chiefs within the county may want to apply.
yeah,
And we don't want that getting around to their bosses until we know more later. So let's see what comes in first.
All right, that's
And then
fine.
figure out a selection process after that.
So do we have a motion to advertise for the chief? And then second, look
I
into an
second.
RFP after it doesn't work? Do we
I
have-
second
wait,
the motion.
Okay,
yeah, so move.
so move.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Town administrator recruitment consultant RFP.
What you have presented in your packets today is the RFP that we drafted up for selecting a consultant for a town administrator. Keeping in mind that they'll come to us, and based on the criteria that they submit to us in these proposals on how they normally operate, you can make your selection on, and then sit down with them and figure out the qualities of the candidate you'll be looking for. So this is purely just to let the consultants know that what we're interested in looking for is a town administrator for our community, and what we expect for them to apply to us, and so that we can do our checkbox list for the consultants alone.
Okay. Any discussion?
Anybody else?
Nope,
Nope,
Anybody read it?
I read it.
Thank you.
it's very detailed.
Question.
It's good. It's very good.
In the, and Lisa, this is kind of primary for you and Hiram for you. In pages 15 and 16, the administrator's description, you've got in there, serve as a camera rep and zoning officer.
Yep.
Is that new? That's not in the current
No, it's
administrator job description.
it's in the current administrator's job description as it is on the online, because I just cut and paste from it.
Yeah.
But they're always going to be designated the zoning official and the camera rep and the floodplain administrator, and then that position designates that duty down to other staff members.
Right.
By law, it has to be as high up as possible to be the actual person who holds those responsibilities. So, but it is in the current job description that I pulled off of
Off the line.
off of the ordinances online, yeah.
Okay, I was looking at the personnel policy.
It's not in the person, it's in the
It's not in the
actual,
personnel
it's
policy.
actually in the laws of the town that they have those responsibilities. The ordinances online, spells out the town administrator,
So we
so,
have something that overrides our personnel policy.
to an extent.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Page 15, it says that the mayor is a 2-year term.
Did I get that wrong?
Is that correct, or is it
Yes.
a 4-year term?
2.
2-year term, all right.
In our case, a year
Or less,
or less.
okay. On page 20, there's a description of an assessment center. I'm not sure what an assessment center is.
Well, not knowing how y'all wanted to proceed with the selection process, this gives them the option of presenting to us how, an assessment center is basically, they'll run through tests, like panel tests, or, you know, here's a sample budget, or this is a community problem, solve this. It's,
So actually, an assessment process,
right.
Yeah.
not necessarily a center. Okay.
Well, they're referred to as assessment centers, because they might bring them into a specific place and run them through scenarios. One room to the next room to the next room with,
Okay, thank you. And then the schedule that we have on page 33, or 23, just to clarify. We'll review and evaluate the proposals by Tuesday, June 5th. The idea being, we'll have an earlier deadline, and we'll try to get those evaluations before that. June 5th is not a meeting day or anything, so are you setting that as a date for us to have a meeting and formally evaluate it?
not June 5th, June 15th is. We might have messed up the dates. That's why all the dates are highlighted, just in case.
Okay,
But if y'all aren't satisfied with any of the dates, we can move this around too, so
So it's June 15th.
I gotta look at my calendar. Everything's running together lately. Let's see here. June 4th is the council meeting, not 5th.
So it's the day after the council meeting. And then for you to interview.
Yeah.
So this,
So you'll have the stuff on at the 4th to
Right.
select which consultants to bring forward to the interview. And this is letting them know that they'll know by the 5th if they're gonna be proceeded on to the interviews.
okay.
So we won't have any meeting on the 5th.
No.
And what are the questions, John?
okay. And then the other 2 dates are council meetings, and so we will have discussions. And the second date, June 19th, is our second council meeting
Yeah.
of that month. So after the council meeting, we will go into interviews, that's the idea?
That's,
You can do it in an interview process, or you can have them make presentations to you at that meeting.
Right.
That's why we scheduled it for
Okay.
meeting dates.
But all that will be finalized once we get a consultant and we find out what the best way is to work with the consultant.
no, this is choosing
This
the
is
consultant.
Choose a
Yeah.
consultant, yeah, I got it, all right. That's, okay, okay.
And then for you all to select that consultant. at
Consultant.
July 2nd.
Right.
All right.
Okay.
That's all I had, thank you.
I have a question.
Good, Charlie.
Has anyone considered that July 2nd meeting is close to the 4th?
Yeah,
Not a problem for me.
I'm here in town. Your problem with you, Charlie? Is it a problem with you?
No.
Okay.
I
I'm
just
good.
wanted to make
I'm
sure
good
with
that
the
We're all aware of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope we're all good with it, because that's when I wanna have the flood maps.
Okay. All right, so that stays.
That's all I had.
Do I hear a motion?
So moved?
Second?
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Chief, the opiate addiction awareness resolution?
Thank you. Was made aware of the request by Reverend William Eberly for the council to adopt a resolution supporting the observance of opioid addiction awareness Sunday, April 29th in Sunset Beach. I'll speak for the police department. I'll let Richard speak for the fire department, but we support the passing of a resolution to recognize opioid addiction awareness and understand that prevention and education is the key to treatment. The legal system is not gonna effectively solve this crisis. We also pledge to work with community partners and share resources to help battle addiction. So we're in support of that resolution should council choose to adopt
What
it.
date was that?
Sunday, April 29th.
May I ask a question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, what happens, what is meant by an observance on Sunday the 29th? Are we going to have a special event? Are we going to do anything?
I'm not aware of anything special other than just making that day an awareness day.
So we'll put it on our
Okay.
website now that.
Correct.
Okay, so
Yes, sir.
nothing, and it would not be part of the Strawberry Wine Festival that's scheduled for that day also at the park?
No, sir.
Okay.
Lisa, could you put that on the website for us, please? Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you, Chief. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion?
It's a good idea.
Good. Ready, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now, on the new business, a deposition, all agenda. I just have to ask for approval, right?
You just need to look at this and see if you want to add or move or change.
Richard? John?
What do you?
Well, we're dropping number 6,
Right.
disposition
Right here.
records.
D.
Yeah, I have some requests. I wrote a draft for a personnel change, and it was the draft regarding pay for interim assignments.
Okay.
I would like to have the council have a copy of that so they can study it for an upcoming session. Is
Right.
that?
We didn't know if you were good enough with it to go ahead and try to put it on a workshop and discuss it or not, but we can have that.
Well, we
available
can
in the
have
next
that at
packet
the
or
next
something.
workshop.
Yeah, okay.
Is that okay? So we can digest it and,
It's number 8. You just need to add a date.
Yeah.
See number 8, Rich, on page 29.
You just need to give us the date.
okay.
Can we put that on the, when's the next workshop?
May 15th.
Can we put that on May 15th then?
Upcoming agenda item, I would like to see the final draft for the ERC committee.
That's scheduled to,
That's on the
that's
7th,
scheduled to
Rich.
go out to be given to you on the 5th so that we can discuss it on the 15th.
So that's taken care of.
Yes,
Right.
it's in the disposition, page
Okay.
29.
Jan, I'd like to discuss when can we have a date with you as far as the salary and benefits study update?
I don't know. I don't have that ready yet.
Okay.
We have a workplace violence security alert, and I am proposing that that be placed on discussion, for discussion.
On May 5th?
I don't want to overload the May 7th meeting, because the consultant's going to be here. So I just want to be mindful that, to avoid any 3 or 4 hour meetings.
So let's put it on the May 15th, Rich.
That's fine.
And
Lisa?
what is that workplace violence policy?
The workplace violent security alert.
Remember, Grady's supposed to be looking at that, and we'll discuss that next week in closed session.
I had something else.
Really?
I would also like to begin planning the thought to, once we get all the data, hopefully by after the 7th, to begin to plan the thought of compiling a dredging survey for all of the impacted owners. I think by then, hopefully by then, we should be able to have something to send to the impacted owners for their input.
Lisa, I had a question for you. On the mailing, when we get the final details on what we're gonna dredge and not dredge, and get a cost analysis. Then a letter goes out to all the impacted residents with the cost, correct? So at that time, Rich, why can't we save a little bit of money in the mail and put it together at the same time?
I'm not suggesting to do it now. I'm suggesting that once we get all this
That's what I just said, Rich,
information,
same thing.
to be mindful to send out a survey to the impacted owners. Because there's going to be
That
changes.
automatically happens, right? Not necessarily.
It's up to you all to decide how you want to notify.
But if we decide as a council to do that, we can put that in that mailing,
Yeah, you can
correct?
put it in the same mailing.
Fine.
Public hearing, lots of different avenues.
Well,
We
what I'm
might need to
talking
do more
about,
than one.
yeah, what I'm talking about, and I don't want to be misinterpreted, this is a survey. Because right now, the dredging program for the canal owners in
Bay and,
the bay and so forth, this will be a mandated program. The citizens want to participate in a mandated program. Those are the kinds of questions that will need to be asked and to get their input from. So in essence, this is a survey, once we get all of the financial data, so we'll know by then the per unit cost. It should be less now that Jinks Creek may be taken off the table. So there's
Well, we
still
don't-
issues floating.
Yeah, we don't know yet.
We don't know what.
Never mind.
but Rich.
We need to address when we do this survey or whatever it is, we will have to have gone through and make sure we have a clear sense of what the different options are that we would lay out to the people.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
And I believe it's going to take more than just a survey.
Probably, yeah.
I'm asking for,
Oh, no, the survey is going to have to outline the advantages, the disadvantages. I mean, it's going to be a fact sheet included in that, so.
I
but
think
how
with our
how
social,
successful are surveys?
30%
Well, how are we
response
going to
rate
get
usually.
input from the citizens?
well, thanks to John, we got a lot of input,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah, and we're continuing to get inputs, yeah.
Yeah, because you've orchestrated an email campaign.
Yes, I did.
Yeah,
I notified the people that these issues are coming up.
yeah, I
and-
find that
and get-
inappropriate.
And get your views on it. I found it
I
very
find it,
appropriate.
I find it inappropriate that you're promoting the dredging of Jinks Creek when the Jinks Creek has been taken off the table by the scoping committee.
No, it
Rich,
hasn't been
Rich,
taken
that's,
off.
we're not gonna discuss that.
Yeah.
Nothing's been taken off the table.
Nothing's been taken off the table, so let's wait until this, May 7th.
I don't understand the lack of transparency. I'm sorry.
We have transparency.
I mean-
We agreed that the survey will go out, Rich, but just one that's gonna go out is when we have the final numbers and what's gonna be dredged and not dredged. We don't have those answers quite yet, and I don't understand why you don't understand that. We just said,
I understand it, Mark.
so, we can't prematurely send a survey out. We have to wait,
Preaching to the choir. I just brought it up as an agenda item.
and everybody agrees that a survey will go out.
Fine.
I have a concern that a survey alone does not get all the correct information out. The emails that we've been getting from the people from John's email campaign have misinformation in them.
That's correct.
Almost everyone has misinformation. We need to get the correct information out. I'm just asking, will a survey alone do that?
I don't think so, Jan, but the thing is, with the scoping meeting, people coming in, I mean, our consultants coming in on May 7th and talking to us, people will know the details of the dredging, what can be dredged and what will be dredged, and what we will do in the future. So with the consultants and with the scoping meeting final decision and survey, I think that'll be plenty of information
Okay.
out there.
And if the
And that's
survey
what
goes
went
out,
out in the email campaign.
if the survey goes out with the letter stipulating exactly what the project does entail, the full project scope, there won't be
Exactly.
misinformation.
Yeah.
The problem you're going to have is response rate, which is why I would also recommend holding a public hearing.
Yeah, oh, absolutely.
Thank you.
But don't forget, the public hearing is only impacts a small member of the community.
I understand, and that can be weighted when they stand up and say where they
And-
live, but
and-
it still should be open to the full
And the
public.
impact owners have a right to see a fact sheet, not an opinion sheet, a fact sheet.
Right, which is why we're suggesting after the consultant gives his
Okay.
update, plus after the applications have been made and we find out what is allowed and what is not allowed from those applications.
All right.
Because even after we apply, they can still apply conditions, so nothing
Right.
should go out until we know what the
Right.
final word is from the state.
Exactly. Thank you.
Okay. Charlie, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm trying to get this in, but I couldn't get your attention. Number 7, salary and benefits study update. I thought we were gonna have that by the budget.
I have had complications. I will not be able to have the comprehensive study ready by the budget. We will have figures to go by.
And we have supplied in-house update of the scale for y'all's consideration as well.
Okay.
We'll have your information, Charlie.
Good with that.
Okay? At this,
Verify before you move on, that for the May 15th meeting, you have 4 workshop agenda items,
correct.
correct? 4?
Mm-hmm.
And presently, we have, it's not on here, but there would be 3 items on the May 7th meeting.
Regarding,
Well, we'll have the dredging scoping feedback from our consultant.
Right.
We'll have the ERC rules final draft, and I've got a zoning amendment
okay.
that night as well. So there's only going to be 3 items on the Monday meeting.
That's fine.
Okay.
That's cool.
Okay. At this time,
Well,
anything else,
public hearing
Lisa?
and the amendment. 2 things.
Lisa, anything else?
I'm good.
At this time, I'd like to do a short recess until we go into the budget meetings. So we'll take a 10 minute.
Are we going to have public comments before we start the workshop for the budget?
Rich, you put it at the end of the budget meeting. That's
Then
what-
most people may not want to stay around.
That's what you asked for.
That's up to them.
I think it would be a good idea if we can make an exception to do public comments now for the end of this meeting. And then
All right,
then
at this
move on.
time,
agree.
do we have any public comments? Okay, I'd like to do a short recess of 10 minutes. So at 2 hours.